What's going on, guys? It's NYPrepper here. Hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day here in the Catskill Mountains. I'm just doing a little bit of a scouting trip right now. I'm looking for some deer sign for upcoming deer season. So I'm just scouting out this area here on foot. Absolutely gorgeous day. The leaves are starting to change color. Almost peak, actually, the foliage. But I wanted to talk to you guys today about when the time comes, are you going to be able to confront a family member, friend, or neighbor? And when I mean when the time comes, I mean, if one of your friends or one of your neighbors, I'm talking about somebody that you trust and you know very well, like a best friend or a close neighbor, a brother, a sister, father, even your wife. What happens if these people become a threat to you? Are you mentally ready to deal with somebody that you love and somebody that you've known a long time? Are you mentally... I'm just watching my back here because the bears are very active now. It's, October. Are you mentally prepared to deal with, a family member, a loved one who's gone nuts or is trying to steal your supplies or, has, lost their marbles? You need to think about that, all right? There may be a time that comes where after SHTF, you may have to use force against a loved one, and you need to mentally prepare yourself for that, okay? Are you mentally prepared to, restrain or even use deadly force against a loved one? It sounds crazy, but, people could really lose their marbles when the crap hits the fan, and you need to think about the possibility that the people closest to you may pose the biggest threat, So before I continue, I just want to show you guys what I got on me today. I got my 44 mag, just in case I run into a bear. Got my bear spray here, just in case I don't want to use my pistol, okay? And this is always my go-to bear spray. I don't want to use deadly force against a bear if I don't have to. So bear spray is my first option. Then I would go to my pistol, and then if that doesn't work, I got a 6-inch blade knife on my waist here that I could use as a force multiplier. But the bears are really active now. It's October, they're getting ready for the winter, all the acorns are dropping. So if you guys are out in the woods, bushcrafting, hiking, camping, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're prepared to deal with a bear. I highly recommend you carry bear spray and at least a knife, okay? And if you can carry a pistol, if you have a permit for it, depending on what state you're in, you may need a permit. Get a permit, all right? It's always better to carry a pistol in the woods than not, There's a lot of different animals out here. You could run into coyotes, whatever, depending on what part of the country you live in, wolves, cougars. Always want to have a firearm if you can carry one, but if not, bear spray and knife would be my bare essentials if you're doing anything in the woods, especially now in October. Acorns are dropping. One thing I wanted to show you guys here is this branch I came across, and I don't know if somebody broke that, if that was a person or this was maybe a Bigfoot, It looks like somebody broke this down. I don't know if it was a person chopping at it or if it was a Bigfoot, I don't know. But so, I want to just kind of elaborate a little bit more on the whole using force against your loved ones. So we'll talk about that as I walk through the woods here and scout out some, possible deer hunting areas. What I'm looking for is scrapes, all right? Any of you guys that hunt, you know what scrapes are. I'm looking for little branches like this, little saplings, okay? Little saplings, young trees, they're called saplings. And what happens is when the bucks, the male deer, when they're getting ready to mate, which is this time of the year, what they do is they take their antlers and they scrape off the bark, okay? and you'll see like the bark scraped off. It looks like someone took a knife and just shaved off the bark. You can't miss it. And so what I do when I scout for deer in a new area that I've never been to is I try to find a water source, because deer, you know, they need to drink a lot of water because they consume a lot of vegetables, or not vegetables, but, you know, greens. So they need water to process everything. And so I got this river here, this little stream, and I'm walking along the stream looking for signs, any kind of tracks. But ideally, if I could find a scrape, you know, that would tell me that there's a buck in the area. You know, I'm also looking at the trees. I'm looking for trees that would provide food for deer. You know, here we got some white oaks here, which is perfect. So I'm just looking for some scrapes and tracks and stuff. But you know, so I wanted to just you know, talk about, you know, are you guys prepared to use force against a family member or a loved one, you know, or a neighbor, you know, or a friend? You know, I would hate to have to ever do something like that, but it's good to mentally think about that and kind of mentally prepare yourself, so in case you do have to do it, you don't hesitate, you know, because you know, hesitation is always the worst thing in a self-defense scenario. Hesitation will get you killed, all right? Because, you know, self-defense situations, they happen very quickly, okay? So you need to be able to react quickly. And, you know, if you have a loved one or somebody that you're close to and they're doing something wrong, you know, and, you know, you may have to quickly intervene or use force against them. If you hesitate because they're your friend or your loved one, you know, the situation could get worse, you know. So you got to mentally prepare yourself for that, okay? We got this log over here. I got to try to get across it, you know. So, you know, you got to mentally think about things like that, all right? Because you don't want to hesitate when the time comes, all right? Let's see if I can't walk across. Let's see how sturdy this is. Should be pretty sturdy. All right, here we go. Should I walk across there? What do I do? I think I'll just go down here. Take the more conservative approach. All right, so, you know, think about that, guys, you know, and mentally prepare yourself, you know, get your mind ready just in case that time comes. Let's say, for example, you walk in on your friend, you know, raping some person, you know. Let's say you have a longtime friend and they've lost their mind, and, you know, this was somebody that was your friend. You walk in on this dude, you know, raping some random woman, you know, what do? You know, you may have to use force against this guy. He's your friend, you know, and it'll be very shocking, you know. Or let's say, even not as much of an extreme example, but let's say, for example, you have a loved one in your group and they lost their marbles, you know, the stress of SHTF got to them and they can't manage the stress, and they start, let's say, stealing from people. Let's say you have a community, you know, you have a community or your neighbors, you and your neighbors, you know, let's say you and your neighbors form a community, and you know, let's say that, you know, one of your neighbors starts to, you know, lose their mind, or, you know, they can't handle the stress, they're going around, they're stealing from people, and you have to confront that person. And let's say when you confront them, they start to get violent. You know, things can escalate extremely fast, okay? And when things escalate, you have to be ready to use force extremely quickly, all right? If you start to hesitate, that's when things can go very wrong very fast, okay? So be mentally prepared, guys, to use force after SHTF against people that are your loved ones and people that you have trusted a long time and people that are close to you, because you don't know how people are going to change after SHTF. You know, SHTF is going to put a lot of stress on everybody, you know, even the most, you know, choir boy type altar boys, you know, Boy Scouts, you know, even those types of people are going to be stressed to the max, okay? And you don't know how they're going to react to that stress, and you don't know what they're going to do. And so, you know, you have to be prepared to use force if necessary. You know, if these people start to get out of hand, if they start to compromise your security, if they start to compromise your group, you have to be ready to use force quickly and decisively, okay? And we actually got some deer tracks over here. You see a deer track right here. That could be a buck. It's a pretty big track. You know, if we clean it out a little, we could see it's a good sized track over here. We got some hoof marks right there. That's probably a buck, I would say. I mean, you could see how big it is. Definitely a buck here, came through. All right, definitely deer in this area, so this could be a potential hunting spot down in this little, you know, depression area here. Maybe I'll set up somewhere down here, and this will be my new hunting area. So that's pretty much it, guys. You know, contemplate that. You know, mentally prepare yourself. Get ready to use force if you have to. You know, it's not a good thing. Nobody wants to do it, but you know, if things get out of hand, you know, and one of your buddies starts to lose it from the stress, you're gonna have to act quickly and decisively. So, you know, that's pretty much it, guys. I'll keep you guys updated with any breaking news. And as always, take care, God bless. And don't forget the 3 P's. Prepare, practice, and persevere. All right, guys. So those of you looking to get into hunting, we found ourselves a scrape, boys. Look at this. Good sized buck, all right? Look at how the buck scraped this tree. This could be from last year. It doesn't look fresh. If it's a fresh tree, you know, you'll see that it's green and it just got scraped. You'll see that it's moist, but you can see that this is pretty dry. This could have been from last year. It's hard to say, actually. It's a little dark now. Actually, it could be this year. Maybe it was a few weeks ago. But this is what you're looking for, you know. You look in these little trees like that, you're looking for those scrapes, you know. If there's a scrape in the area, that means there's a buck, all right? The bucks continuously check their scrapes. They look for does. They continuously check their scrapes. They're not far from where the scrapes are, all right? And the scrapes are designed to let the does know that there's a buck in the area and he's ready to mate. Usually the bigger the sapling, that means it's a bigger buck, all right? So this is a good size sapling here. You know, you're looking at maybe 1.5 inches. So it's a good sized deer. You know, if you see like a big sapling that's scraped up, like maybe something like that, you know, if you see a tree like this that's scraped up, this is probably about 3 or 4 inches in diameter. You see something like that scraped up, that's a huge buck, all right? You know, a little sapling like this is 1.5 inches. You know, this is probably like a medium age buck, not old but not very young, probably at least 2 to 3 years old, so he could have a nice rack on him. But you know, that's kind of a little tip to share with you guys, so just wanted to show you that. So we had a successful scout. Another way that you could find if there's deer in an area when you're scouting is to find a little muddy area like this close to some standing water. You could check the mud for some tracks when the deer come down to get a drink. You could see pretty much how many deer are in the area. Usually if there's a lot of deer, you'll see a lot of tracks in the mud because deer like to stay close to water. So that's just a quick tip. So look at this giant oak tree, guys. Giant oak tree. This is a white oak. Look at that, guys. Giant oak tree. This is the type of stuff you want to look for when you're scouting for deer. All right, if there's a lot of oaks, that means there's deer. That means there's bear. That means there's all kinds of animals, because the oaks, they provide life through the acorns. The acorns provide sustenance for all the animals in the forest. Oaks are critical in the eastern woods. Look at that weird big knot in the middle of that tree. Isn't that funny, guys? Look at that. That's how the tree healed itself, because it cracked. That's so cool. Just wanted to show you guys that. Look at this giant hemlock, guys, that fell over. That's a massive hemlock. Look at that. Opened up a huge hole in the canopy. Look at that monster hemlock. Just got cracked, blown over. Look at this giant hemlock, guys. How it got blown over. For us Easterners, this is considered a big tree. It's about 3 foot in diameter, huge hemlock. And all these hemlock boughs here, these hemlock boughs, they make really good shelter material. Alright, you could use this, you could lay this on the ground and you could use it as ground cover. Alright, if you have to sleep on the ground, you can take a bunch of these hemlock boughs and pile them up on the ground and lay on top of them to insulate yourself and make like a little bed. You can do a lot with these hemlock boughs. They're very good, and I'll get into that when I do my cold weather survival videos. I'll show you guys how you can use them a multitude of ways, but just wanted to show you guys that. Any kind of pine bough, hemlock, any kind of evergreen, you know, those boughs can really serve as a good insulation. So just want to show you guys this beautiful hemlock forest here. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at these hemlocks. These provide natural shelter against the elements, snow, rain. It's a good place to be in a blizzard. These hemlocks break the wind and there's less snow depth underneath these hemlocks. I'll talk about that in my cold weather survival video. I'm going to continue on with that series, so stay tuned for that. This beautiful scenery here, guys, in the Catskill Mountains, upstate New York. Made it to this giant gorge down there. Look at that, guys. Leaves are starting to change. It's a gorgeous time of the year. Can't wait for the snow to come.